So we took a shortcut in this episode and we asked ChatGPT, what does it mean to achieve financial freedom? What are some shortcuts that it can give us, right? Of course, because the wise and powerful ChatGPT knows all. So it gave us 15 ideas on how and to achieve financial freedom and what shortcuts we should take. So, and today we are going to talk about some of those and we're going to add some of our own, of course, because, here's the thing. I think there's no shortcut really, but maybe there is.
No, there's totally a shortcut. We'll talk about that. Hi, and welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast, where we believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go, you need wealth wisdom.
And not just some back body.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us. If you're catching us on the podcast, so glad that you're here. We also have a video version of this over on our YouTube. We'll have the link in the show notes if you'd rather watch us and see what we draw on a screen and things like that as we go. If you are watching on YouTube, thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to like and comment on this video to show us that you're here, you're watching, and that we're doing a good job. Would love your feedback on what we're going to share and how we react to what ChatGPT shared.
Awesome. So, so Amanda, you're going to do a fun little exercise, right? And pull that up.
Yeah. Before we do that, a couple important reminders. ChatGPT does not know everything and it can make errors. You got to remember 5 really important things. The first one is that achieving financial freedom often involves a combination of smart financial practices, disciplined savings, strategic investments. There's no one thing. It's there's often a multiple things that people do that work together to bring them to financial freedom.
Yeah,
I think important.
Yeah, I think that's really important as people ask us all the time, what is the thing I should do? I'm like, I need to know you and you need to know yourself. And there is no shortcut to that.
Yeah. And then secondly, there's no guaranteed shortcut. Even if you've got 3 or 4 of them, none of them are guaranteed to work. And this is maybe a good reminder for people that thought there was a guaranteed shortcut a few years ago.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, but all the craze about Bitcoin and crypto and everything. And, people were telling me, what you should do? You should do this. And they were finding these shortcuts. And I don't know how it's worked out for most of them, but I don't think very well, at least currently.
For some, or maybe the majority. Yeah. So don't think that there's one guaranteed shortcut. Next, achieving financial freedom is a gradual process that requires discipline and commitment. You don't achieve financial freedom overnight. It's pursuit. It's a journey. It's through gradual changes, small improvements, micro adjustments that you're able to achieve it over the long haul.
Yeah. Disciplines, I think.
Yeah. And then fourth, everyone is unique. Even what ChatGPT is going to share, what we're going to share, you're going to want to tailor it to your specific circumstances.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are some good
last one
reminders.
Life changes. What works today to help you achieve financial freedom or get closer to it may not work in a different season of life. So be open to being adaptable as you evolve and change, and as your financial situation changes, to take different paths to get to financial independence and financial freedom.
That goes for the economy too. What worked, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even, let's say with the crypto thing, maybe is a different strategy and a different tactic that you need to take now versus a year ago, 2 years ago, or even in real estate.
Yeah. You ready to see what ChatGPT shared?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Here we go.
Yeah, people often ask us, do we like ChatGPT? Do we use it? And here's the thing. Sometimes we do. There are shortcuts to using it. You have to, again, take those 5 things that we talked about earlier and adapt it, make sure that it fits within what you want to accomplish. So, Amanda, you asked ChatGPT shortcuts to financial freedom. So here we go.
Okay. So what I asked ChatGPT was this. What are some shortcuts or hacks to achieve financial freedom? And you'll see that idea of there being a combination. ChatGPT had that. No guaranteed shortcut, right? Some of those things that we were sharing, we shared 5 of them. They have a couple reminders in here. Let's go with number one, create a budget. Know where your money's going, etc. We hate the word budget, just to be honest.
Yeah.
Instead, we would say you got to track, you got to become more aware. But often when people budget, they restrict themselves. They feel restricted. They don't carry it through. It feels like a chore, a burden. Whereas like tracking, seeing where your money's coming from, where it's going, looking for ways to improve that to bring you more joy, that's a lot more fun.
Yeah. I think what I like is managing cash flow. That's for me, it's more like that versus budget. And again, I think that a lot of people who are really rich probably manage their cash flow. They kind of have an idea of where the money is going. That's why we have in our community manage cash flow like a millionaire, right? Because that is a hack. If we know where our money's going, then we can do better things with it.
Yeah.
Budgeting is still, we do have a YNAB budgeting,
which is a
tool.
different way of budgeting than most people think of. So don't think you have to do budgeting how everyone does it, is basically our point there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now we're not going to talk about all of these. The next one I want to go to is where ChatGPT gets on my small business owner nerves. And that is number 9 here. Negotiate and shop smart. And it says, negotiate your bills, shop around for the best deals, and take advantage of discounts. Small savings can add up over time. And we think that puts savings at the wrong end of a financial freedom journey. Instead, we like to invite people to focus on their savings rate. How much are they saving, paying themselves first every month? And then they can spend what's left from that and look for discounts. Do those kind of things, but also spend on what brings you joy and put quality over quantity, stuff like that too.
I think, this drives me back to the Dave Ramsey thing of negotiating on a dryer or something like that. Or, as a business owner, where somebody would come to me and say, well, I want to bring the price down, and that's not honoring to each other. Now, don't overpay for things like that. That's important. Kind of know what you're doing there. But at the same time, don't just try and lowball just because you can or whatever.
And focus more on savings rates rather than getting discounts. I've heard of girl math. Going into a store and not buying something is saving money, right? Also
girl math.
Girl, that's what they call it, I guess. Hashtag. But putting money in your savings in a safe place where you can access it at the beginning of the month, every single month, is savings. And don't get it confused with getting a discount.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now there's 3 of these that relate to investing, passive income, side hustle. Let's go look at those. We got passive income, side hustles, and invest wisely. Okay. What's not here is you have to be careful with these 3 things because they can all become balls and chains rather than a source of freedom. Investing only money you can afford to lose instead of feeling like you're investing money that you could lose if you don't time the market the right way, blah, blah, blah. Creating passive income from our own businesses rather than other people's businesses, but doing it in a way where we're putting profit first. So we make sure we're benefiting from the business the most. And then, a side hustle, get that started without spending a lot of upfront costs, follow the Damon John power of broke kind of model. And that helps all 3 of those, whichever ones you're going to pick, whichever ones you're going to use in your mix toward financial freedom to become more freeing rather than balls and chains, whatever that's called.
Yeah, I've seen this a lot lately is people are, hearing about, oh, well, I need to have my own business. I want to have my own time. I want freedom back. So I'm going to start a business and I'm going to invest in this kind of thing and this learning and that. And they end up going backwards versus forwards because they left working for the quote unquote, the man to start their own financial freedom journey. And they're in debt to start that thing. And I think that that's where, there is knowledge, there is understanding, but then there is implementation and doing it in a smart, stable, wise way.
Yeah, absolutely. Which goes back to there's not really a shortcut or a hack there. You got to just put in the work.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a business or a side hustle or something. Okay. Now the 4th one I wanted to talk about is I'm going to go to ChatGPT and read word for word what they say there. Number 11, continuous improvement. Invest in your skills and education to enhance your earning potential. Continuous improvement can lead to better job opportunities and higher income. Now, for us, we want a more action-oriented continuous improvement. Too many people learn things, they get educated, they go to conferences, they attend summits, they pay for masterminds, you know, all the things. And yet it doesn't result in any higher income or more financial freedom because they don't do what they learn.
Yeah.
We love the idea that you learn best by doing and, you know, start before you're ready and all those kind of things. And so we like to learn a little bit, act a lot, learn a little bit, act a lot,
Yep.
see where we have gaps in our knowledge, you know, things like that, and keep learning just in time information, not just in case information.
Yeah, I think this goes into the student debt crisis and all of that, where people have gone to college because that's going to give them financial freedom, and they end up with a degree that they probably aren't going to use anyway. I don't know, raise your hand, put a comment or like if you think, if that's you, right? Or they do go after that, and it takes them a lot longer to pay off that education bill. Now, I'm not saying you don't go to college, right? Just maybe even take a gap year if you're 18 to kind of learn yourself. If you know who you are, then you can go into the career or degree that you want. But understanding what you're going to spend money on to build that runway is really important.
Yeah, and this isn't just for the 18-year-old, it's for the 50, 60 something that's maybe in a transition to a new career or leaving their career and going into something like real estate. You could spend a ton of money learning and going to conferences and summits, maybe even going back to school. But what would it look like to actually do some actions to learn what you actually want to learn first, so you don't end up wasting more money?
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Okay, now we got to stop the screen share because we have a really big one that ChatGPT did not share. So here's the one that didn't make ChatGPT's list. Take control and exercise your power or right to act, speak, and change as one wants without hindrance or restraint.
That sounds like a dictionary definition.
Yeah, that's literally the dictionary definition of freedom. Let me say that again. So you're going to take control or exercise your definition of freedom, right? Like, here's what it is. Your power or right to act, speak, and change as one wants without hindrance or restraint. To be free is to be able to change. You may not be able to change everything in the next few moments, but at a minimum, you can change your mind. And we want to give you a powerful exercise that we found very instrumental in helping us change our mind. And I was researching what just philosophy, people that are experts in freedom, how they talk about it. And I found this lady named Wendy Hoi Kwong Chung, and she said, to be free is to be self-determining and anonymous. And when the really strong thing that is in philosophy about freedom is the difference between free to and free from. And then we would add a financial component to that, free with. different things there. So free from connotes that you're free from being imprisoned or trapped. You're free from being boxed in or restrained. We need some free from in our lives, right? Free to connotes the opposite. This is a positive source of positive idea of freedom. It's the opposite of being held back from pursuing what you want. The free to do what's in your own heart to do, that kind of thing, that you have that positive freedom. And then free with is actually kind of the opposite of positive discipline and restraint. It's to be willy-nilly, loosey-goosey, or with something or someone. Now, which type of financial freedom do you want? Do you want free from, free to, or free with? Jump in here. I got more.
I mean, I think there's a challenge here in that there's, the financial independence retire early movement and other things. The FIRE movement. And, the people that were going after the shortcuts, again, for the Bitcoin craze or real estate or all the other stuff. And so just being able to say, okay, is what I'm doing here, is it going to help me maintain freedom? right? Because what I'm worried about in some of this financial independence, financial freedom movement is that all of a sudden we become quote unquote free, but then we have to go back because of things outside of our control.
Mhm.
And that's a challenge that I want to be able to live in freedom, financial freedom for the rest of my life if I
Yeah.
can.
So here's the exercise. Reflect and write down some ideas of what being free from means to you. Then do the same with free to. Write down some ideas. What would it mean to be free to? And then come up with sometimes you want to be free with, and sometimes you don't want to be free with. So like, for instance, I love being free within a preset boundary. Like we go on a vacation or we travel somewhere, we might have, here's what we're going to spend for the full time, but then we're going to be free within that boundary. Same if I ever went to a casino, which I've never been, but if I ever did, I'd only bring a certain amount of money with me so I can be free with it while I'm there, but I can't be free with all my money when I go to that casino, that kind of idea.
Yeah.
And I believe if you take that exercise seriously, you actually have maybe 3 sheets of paper or 3 columns on a paper and you write free to, free from, and free with in whatever order. And then you just drop some ideas of what would it look like to have more of that kind of freedom in your life. I think you'll come up with some ideas that seem like really doable. Or if you come up with an idea that doesn't seem doable, say, well, what could I do that might get me closer to that? And then what could I do to get me closer to that? And what could I do to get me closer to that?
Yeah.
That kind of thinking really brings it down to like, oh, here's a micro adjustment that I could do right now. Even if it's a changing my mind about something to believe it's possible, more likely to get there. So that's what we want to kind of invite you to do. Take that exercise seriously, and we believe you're already more free.
I think what I want to end with is thinking about building that foundation, right? That's what people want, is freedom to do what they want, when they want, right? But then here's the thing. If, again, we go back into the rat race because things outside of our control happened, it's because we didn't build a solid foundation from the beginning. We did not build the rocks at the bottom, right? And told, oh, well, go invest in this thing and that thing, and it'll be a shortcut. But if we build a good foundation, that is the best shortcut to maintaining financial freedom. And that's, again, why we wrote the book and why we do what we do, right?
Some people might not have heard about the book. Tell them about the book.
Yeah. So again, this is, I think, one of the best shortcuts. It is about building your foundational foundation, right? The foundational foundation, whatever. It's building the foundation in your finances. And we wrote this 5 Smooth Stones. It is a interactive money journal to where you can ask those questions and build the foundation as you're going. And as you build those, you will be able to achieve the life and dreams that you want.
Yeah. So when you get this, you'll see that there is every single week in the 12-week journey that we take you on in this in 5 Smooth Stones. Every single week, the first question of that week is, what does financial independence mean to you? And I found whenever I ask that question, I love to say, like, in this season, or like right now, what does financial freedom mean to me? What does financial independence look like? And that's actually going to change. And it does for me every time I ask myself that question when I'm doing the practices that we teach in this book, and that we like, because we do them, right? I find that I get a different idea of how I can have more freedom in my life that week or that month or that 2 weeks between until I get to the next time I get to ask that question and reflect on it again. And it's really that kind of journey that's the shortcut.
Yeah, I think live deliberately. That's in this part here. Biggest shortcut, I think, is living deliberately. So again, 5 Smooth Stones, check it out. There will be links in the show notes and things.
If you need it, it's wealthwisdomfp.com/shop, SHOP. Again, that's wealthwisdomfp.com/shop. Be sure to look for the VIP list there. When you join our VIP list, you will get a coupon code with a discount, because we want to get this into as many hands as possible, especially as we're approaching the end of the year, the beginning of the next year, because I know a lot of people are looking to make some moves. They're looking for shortcuts toward the greater financial freedom in the new year. And we know that this can be a great tool to help you get that. So get your copy today. We've got some really top secret stuff coming out for people who buy that journey or buy the book.
It is a journey.
It is a journey. That's what you're buying, is a journey toward greater financial freedom when you buy the book. But we've got some top secret stuff we're working on that we're going to be inviting you to on this podcast, and the people that buy the book will hear about it first. It's going to be a limited opportunity that only a certain number of people get to participate in, because there literally is only so much space for the people to participate. So get your copy and look for some news about that coming up.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to, build your foundation to live long and profit.
The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.
And not just ChatGPT, please.
No, they're not a professional who knows your specific situation.